rich bitch. So suck on this, bitch. 'Cause I'm the rich bitch. I see you, boy, I know what you think. And you just slipped a roofie into my drink. Silly boy, see that's not polite. Your little games are gonna cost you tonight. I'm coming for you. And you know I'm gonna make it a tease. I'm coming for you. You'll be begging for it down on your knees. I'm a rich bitch. I'm a rich bitch. So suck on this, bitch. 'Cause I'm a rich bitch. Don't think you're getting away, 'cause there is no escape. I'm gonna rip you to shreds while we're lying in bed. You come with me, go down to the depths of hell. You know I'm gonna make you bleed for eternity. I'm the witch. I'm the rich bitch. You might be rich, bitch, but I'm the rich bitch.
10 months, let's go. Laughing face. Hype train again?
Not before I get back this time, no! No! No way. Hi everybody, how y'all doing? Snoopy, thank you for the resub. Gamer, thank you for the 100 biddies. Holy hell. I know, I got my hoodie on! It's so fucking comfy. I love it. I fucking love it. Snoopy, you got your coasters? Oh my gosh. How are they? You're using one? You have to let me know how it works, if they work well. Simply ooh. Oh my gosh. Alright, let me go through and see out who all is here. Alright. All the way back to before 9 o'clock. We had Leslie K. Bear, and then we had Josh right after 9 o'clock. Y'all are fucking nuts. And hello to Leslie and Josh. And also Alex. We got Honey Ducky, which by the way, Honey Ducky is singing all of these songs that you're hearing right now. Heckin' amazing music. Just released her new EP. If you do !Ducky in the chat, there's a link to Spotify if you'd like to listen to it. You will not regret it, trust me. You should go listen to it. Listen to it on repeat all day long. Make it stuck in your head. Oh my god, Snoopy! Thank you for the 100 biddies! You don't have to do that. Holy heck. Alright, we got Ducky, we got Obsidian Yoshi. Thank you so much for popping in. I have not tried Human Fall Holy hell. I have not tried Human Fall Flat yet. And I'm excited. I'm excited to play it. It's been in my library for so long. Thought you missed part of my stream because you were live on Discord? No, you have not. I'm just fucking late. I mean, what's new though? Also, welcome, gamer. Izzy! Hi, Izzy! How are you doing tonight? And Skooma? Oh my gosh, we got everybody up in here. I'm pretty sure I saw Terry. Yep, there's Terry. Holy hell. How y'all doing tonight? Y'all having a good one? How to be cute like iGamer? I know, right? It's a hard one to beat. It's a hard one to beat. Oh, we got Snoopy. Hello again to Snoopy. Oh my gosh, so many amazing people up in here. Yes, Snoopy, you do hear Ducky's music. I've been heckin' obsessed with her music. Oh my god, Snoopy!
Thank you for spreading love.
What the heck? Aw, thank you so much for gifting us up to Skooma. Holy heck. Thank you so much. That's so amazing. Skooma, now you can use all the emotes. Drago's here too? Oh my gosh. Hi, Drago. Yeah, Leslie, you were hella early, gang. Sunday, you're gonna be here at 5 a.m., bruh. I will not be here at 5 a.m. I mean, I'll be here, probably. But I won't be here. Oh man, wait, you've done that before? Leslie has done that before. Leslie, one time, was in my stream chat, literally at like the fucking butt crack of dawn, and was in the chat for the entire day. Actually insane. I'm not gonna ban Skooma. Skooma, it does not need to be banned. Did you see all the tracks are finally— wait, are they really? Wait, you mean like all the ones on EP? I thought they all had Honey Ducky on it, did they not? I'm very confused. Unless you mean like your other music. I haven't seen your other music yet though. On Spotify, that is. Your girlfriend and you just booked your flights to Reno and Cali? Bro, it's so amazing! Have lots of fun! Yo, the one thing— wait, where is Reno? Hold on, where is Reno? Is Reno like close to Las Vegas at all? Like, are you gonna go to Las Vegas? I absolutely am shit with geography. I don't know. I can't tell. But that's be so exciting. If you go to Vegas, I have some spots that I can share with you that I know of that are good. I'm not gonna ban you, Scooms. You making a bitch here in The Sims? Aww, that's so adorable. That's so cute. It's kind of far from Las Vegas. Ah, I got you. You've been there a few times to visit your friend. That's so cool. That is so cool. There is like a barbecue place. I will not stop recommending to people. Like that barbecue place that I found. Oh my god, it's so good. A barbecue. Why did my stream just start playing? What the fuck? Hello, stream? Oh, because I had it up. So I had my stream page up to like pop out the chat and I never closed it. That's why. Oh my god. That scared me. Oh my gosh. Giving all the insights on the illegal underground gambling dens? Nah, man. I spent, I think, $5 on slots, and that's about it. Lost every single penny, but it's all I did. I did enough to be like, hey, I gambled in Las Vegas, and that's about it. You're going to Las Vegas next year? Hell yeah. Yo, we're playing with Sussy Boy today. Playing with Sussy Boy. He redeemed to play a game with Santy. And we're gonna play. After this next week, I will open up that reward again. And I'm gonna probably make it a little bit more expensive. Y'all are going ham with that and I love it. Just waiting for a friend with cookie water available. God damn it, Skimma. I'm looking for a dead meme to keep beating for a while. So I have plans, Skooma. My friend and I have plans, and maybe in like here in a few weeks you might see something. Yeah? Also, Skooma, I gave you a little tip. I don't know if you got it, but if you did get it, let me know. I want to make sure I sent you the right place. Oh man, you don't like gambling? Yeah, I don't either. I don't really see a point in it. Personally, I also though am the type of person that'll sit there for an entire day on the fucking quarter pushers. Like when you go to like state fairs and like festivals and stuff, they got those like little quarter pusher machines. My dad and I would sit there for hours just like popping those quarters in and just like watching this stuff push off. I don't know if that's considered gambling, but oh, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Skimma, I told you I'm going to do it anyways. Oh man, coin pushers are the best. Yeah, right, Izzy? I fucking love them. That's the last straw. No punishment, no punishment. You don't get to punish. No way. Oh, you like those too? The quarter ski rip those are fun too. Like at the arcades where you just like push it down like the little ski slope and then it goes into like a little slot. Yo, those are so much fun. Another game, like when I go to the arcade, another game that I love is the one that has the bouncy balls in it and they drop from like the top and they come like through that little chute at the top and then they have to like bounce it into like one of the holes and then it gives you tickets like according to whatever numbers on that hole. Love that game. I spent a lot of time with that game. Wait, hold on. What did you say? You're blocking and banning potion. Oh, that's fine. I don't really care. That's potion. Go ahead. Go ahead. You collect Smash Pennies? I still collect Smash Pennies. I have boxes of Smash Pennies. I've debated about getting those little bracelets that you like put in like a Smash Penny and like wear it around. I've debated about getting those. Or like the keychains. Those look so cute. They look so cute. You'll unban yourself? Nah, you don't have the power to do that. Hell no. Keep them banned. Don't unban them. Maybe you do like gambling, just not casinos. That's fair. I would say that same with the quarter pushers if that's considered gambling, because man, do I love that. I don't know why it's so addicting. It's just so satisfying to sit there and just push quarters in and like watch them push like the shelf of quarters down. And then like you get to a point where like you knock something off, right? But then like you see the next item, you're like, oh, if I just like, you know, buy like one more cup of quarters, I can get the item too. And then it just keeps going. Just keeps going, dude. Oh man, it's a never-ending cycle. Let's all go to the arcade together. Yo, I'm going to another arcade. So I just went to an arcade over the weekend. Which I don't know if you guys want me to tell you about like my little mini vacation to Wisconsin over the weekend, but I could do that if you want me to. But we went to another arcade then, and then I'm gonna be going to another arcade in like a week and a half-ish. It's gonna be so much fun. Different groups of people. You'll buy all of Twitch so you can unban yourself. Ah. V, how can you buy all of Twitch? I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. I mod for all of Twitch, so you know. I'll just ban you in all the streams. Then you can't buy it. Ha, got it. You need the book? I know, right? But the books only hold like 20. It's so crazy. I would need like 50 of those books. Banned potion sus, hell yeah. Arcade meetup win, right, Izzy? Right? I would be so down for an arcade meetup. So, okay. Slippy wants to hear about the weekend. So, I have, between like Indiana and like all the surrounding states, I have so many like IRL friends, online friends, Twitch friends in this like general area. So on, when was it? Friday? God, I don't even remember. Leslie, I think it was Friday, right? Friday, I drove up to Wisconsin, met up with Leslie for like a quick little dinner poutine. And this is the first time I've ever tried poutine. This is really cool. And then I have some IRL friends that live in that area. They also, like, we went up with them, and then we went golfing, like mini golfing. We watched all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, like all 5 of them, just like fucking binged all the movies. It was great. And then we also went to an arcade where like you spend $15 for a wristband for the entire day, and you can go in and out as long as you have that wristband on and play all of the old arcade games in there. Like they have older ones and newer ones, like whole bunch of really old pinball machines, old like cabinets and stuff, and then they have like DDR and like battle, like the Star Wars battle stations and stuff like that. It was super duper cool, lots and lots of fun. And then on the way back down from them, I met up with Leslie, and then we met up Quilpy. So I met Quilpy for the first time in person, which was super duper fun. I don't know if you guys remember Quilpy, but Quilpy comes in and out of chat every once in a while. We've streamed with them before. But Quilpy was so much fun. I got to meet her kiddos, and we got to go through like a little spy restaurant called the Safe House, and we got to like pretend we were spies for a second. It was so much fun. It was awesome because the kids loved it too. They had a lot of fun. And then after I left that area, I stopped by a friend's house on the way home, and then I went home. So yeah. It was a lot of fun. It was like a really good weekend. And then we're gonna be meeting up with some other Twitch friends here in like a week and a half. And I don't know if it's official yet. I think it is. I think it's official, but just in case, I'm not gonna say who it is. But we're gonna get some more Twitch friends here in like a week and a half. Oh my gosh, Static Bear, hello. Thank you so much for the follow.
Thank you so much for the follow.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you enjoy it here. But yeah, so we're meeting up with them at the arcade, hopefully, fingers crossed. I'll let y'all know like once it actually becomes official, if it actually happens. Hi, John. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow.
follow.
Hope you enjoy your time here too. Okay, let me read what you guys are saying. But yeah, that was my last weekend, and then my next week I have friends coming over from out of state. They're gonna be staying with me, so that's gonna be fun too. It's a lot going on. So if you don't see me online a whole lot for the next like 2 weeks, this is why. Actually, like 2.5 weeks probably. I have a lot of people that I'm gonna be meeting up with over the next 2.5 weeks. Alright. Muffled sad poutine boy noises? Wait, why muffled sad poutine noises? Alex, I actually need to talk to you about something. I have an idea. I was talking to a friend earlier today. We have an idea. But yeah, the poutine was pretty good. It was good. Nobody chanting band Josh doesn't have a good ring. Yeah, I agree. It doesn't have a good ring to it. Nope. God, we have the band potion. Yeah, that's a much better ring to it. It's pretty cool. You love arcades? Yeah, I love like all different types of arcades, but the types that you just get like free, like not free entry, but like you pay entry for the entire day and like you come back and like leave whenever you want to. I love that, and I love that they mix like the old with the new stuff too. It's so cool. You sent your pennies on Snap? Ooh. Can I show stream? Yo! Oh, those look so cool! What the hell? Oh my gosh, you guys want to see? You want to see Leslie's pennies? These are so cool. Oh wait, I have to replay it. Oh, there was a frog at the end. Yo, look at her pennies! Look at Leslie's pennies! They're so cool! Alright, come back. There we go. I love it, Leslie! Love it, love it, love it. I'll have to show you my boxes of pennies sometime. A lot of mine are really old and gross looking now, though. You still don't know the password? People were saying that I'm looking for a safe house. I thought that's what I said, and then he said it was wrong, but I don't know. But I also, so that sign that I showed you that was on the ceiling, turns out that was just backwards. It's actually in English, it's just written backwards, and I feel so fucking dumb. But that also says I'm looking for a safe house, so I think that probably is the password. They probably were like, you need to raise your hand. So I think that's probably the reason behind that. You never been to Colorado? I haven't either. Like all the states down that area I've never been to, and I really want to eventually. I want to go to all the states eventually. You guys still not want to like Canadian then? Wait, really? Wait, okay, so question. If a US citizen were to go across the Canada border, would we be able to come back? Or is it just you guys can't come? Cause that's stupid as hell. Wait, rolling a shovel? Rolling a shovel? Why would you roll a shovel? What? You keep them in a Hello Kitty candy takeout tin? Oh my god, that's so cute. That's so cute. Wait, what is that? What? What did you just say in French? What did you just say in French? Why does rolling a shovel mean French kissing and oh. What? Wait, that's a thing? Rolling a shovel means French kissing in French? Wait, what the heck? That's what that means? What? That's so funny. Larios, hello. How are you doing? Glad to see you back. Hope you had a good night and a good day. Wait, it's a very, very ghetto way of saying it? What? It's also very French and not Quebecois. But, yeah, that's crazy. I never would have thought that. Sent a video of the container. Oh my god, Leslie, that's so cute. What the hell? I need that. I need that. Oh my gosh. Where'd you get that from? That's like a legit container. Wow. When you said takeout container, I was picturing like paper or something. That's so cool. Avo! What's up, Avo? How you doing? How you doing? We just use French as a verb for French kissing? Oh, so you use that like Frenching. Yeah! Yeah, we actually use that term too sometimes. Just say Frenching and like instead of French kissing. Apparently in India, French kissing is just called English kiss. Wait, what? Really? That's so weird. You're so good. How about you? Oh, I'm doing alright. I'm glad to hear you're doing good. But I'm doing alright. Today's been a good day. And, what? LaRousse!
Hope all is well with the stream heart.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the 50 biddies. What the heck? Oh my gosh, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Imagine asking somebody, do you want to roll a shovel with a kissy face? Oh, could you imagine? I kind of want to go and just like go to somebody and be like, hey, you want to roll a shovel right now? And just like watch the look on their face. Okay, John. Now you have the idea in my head, and now I can't. Oh my gosh, I have to do that. I have to do that sometime. It's just like see what the people's reactions are. Nobody's gonna understand it. It's gonna be so funny. Oh, wait, you don't do that? I know, right? Oh wait, that was your third dose, Avo? Oh my gosh. That's so cool. I'm probably gonna go do that in a few months. It hasn't been that long since I got my second dose. I think I got mine in April. I think it was April. Wait, so April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, it's only been 4 months for me, so. Oh, I gotcha. So you got Moderna, the other ones, right? I heard that long-term efficacy of Moderna is better than Pfizer. LaRousse, do you want to roll a shovel? Oh my gosh. An actual shovel? Maybe. I got you, LaRousse. I got you. Oh man. It's me, Leisure Suit Leslie. Wanna roll a shovel? Ooh woo. Ooh woo. Ooh woo, Leslie, we're gonna roll a shovel. No, we say kiss in UK, England. Like, you want to kiss if someone says roll a shovel in England, they would think you're insane and want to bury someone, right? That was my first thought too, John. That was my first thought. I was like, wait a second, what are we getting into? So like, French kissing, I don't know if it's the same terminology over there, but like French kissing is like when you kiss with the tongue. Blech. Just bleh. So far, my 11th toe is growing in nice. You're gonna be a heckin' good runner or a heckin' good swimmer. But real question, Avo. Real question. How's your 5G? I mean, did you get any better reception yet? Because if not, return that shit. Screw shoveling the driveway. I want to roll a shovel. Ooh, ooh, LaRousse. Ooh, ooh. Oh, should I want to roll a shovel? I don't mean kiss. I mean hide the bodies. Yes, Josh. I'll hide bodies with you. Let's go. 69G. Nice. Hey, after we bury this body, I want to make out in the dirt. That's so good though. That should be your follow-up. If you ever go to somebody and be like, hey, you want to roll a shovel? And then they're like, what the hell does that mean? And you're like, after we bury a body that's in my trunk, you want to go make out in the dirt? Just like see what happens. Could you imagine? Oh, that'd be so good. Oh man, I'm marking that shit. You have a super strong signal for 5G? Hell yeah, Avo. Get that 5G shot. Maybe I gotta go get me another 5G shot. My signal kind of sucks out here. You can hide them, you know the perfect spot. Cops haven't caught it yet. Oh! Oh, you guys hear that? A little sus. That's a little sus. FBI agent watching this all go down like, I thought I was the FBI agent. Josh, I was your FBI agent. I already knew this was all happening. I mean, what? Nope, I didn't know. I didn't know. This is all news to me. I'm just not finding this out. Yep. Best place to hide a body is where the cops have already looked. Interesting. That's actually an interesting theory. Never would have thought about that. But yeah, gamer, that is his third shot, his booster shot. Every middle schooler, I think I like you. Would you be okay with going into hide by the swings and roll a shovel? Ooh, I think you're cute. I've never done it before. Oh my gosh. Oh man, when I was in middle school, even like high school even, I did not want to have anything to do with like kissing another person, even like touching really is like, I'll hold your hand, but that's about it. When I was even in middle school though, like when I was in a relationship, the furthest I would go with like that would be holding pinkies. I was such a weird person before I went to college. Oh man. Leslie, why do you know this? Oh no, Leslie, why do you know this? Author. Yep, that's the cover up. That's the cover up. You have 2 Moderna and now 1 Pfizer. Now you have like double the 5G reception. Yeah, Josh, you can mix vaccines. Back when people were still getting their first and second dose, the people who were giving out the shots actually, like, they said it's best if you get one of like the same, but they were actually mixing and matching people. Yeah, you can for sure. I know, it seems like you shouldn't, especially since like the makeup of both of them are different. They have different aspects of the, is it like a pro, I can't remember the exact wording, I don't want to say the wrong thing. They have different makeups of the material that they put in the vaccine that tells your body to make the certain antibodies. But yeah, they're similar, they're very similar, but they have different makeups. In middle school, you were a player with the ladies in the high school game, and all of a sudden you were gay. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Then did you just like turn into a player with the guys though? Huh? Wait, in middle school, were you the one behind the swings, LaRousse? Oh, that's so cute. You're a double brand boy. You're a double brand boyo. AstraZeneca. Wait, there's people here that have 3 different brands? Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm sure people here have 3 different ones too if they got Johnson & Johnson on the early days. I switched from Moderna or Pfizer and to be allowed to travel outside Canada where at, yeah, that's true. Yeah, we don't do AstraZeneca here, which is weird. You got Pfizer. Pfizer, you got Pfizer. Hey, for your COVID shot, it was cheaper than Pfizer. Gosh dang it. No, nobody said fill the bitty jar. Nobody said that. But you know what? You know what I did say, Avo? I said, hey, look at this frog with a massive dumpy. I hope you saw that. I'm not doing it again. Alex, stop it! Alex, I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You had to do that. You just had to fucking do that. Combo, do you want one? Do you want a frog with a dumpy? Yeah, no. Lassie, yours doesn't have a dumpy, but these ones have dumpies. Oh god. LaRuse, thank you for the biddies. Also, Alex, I can't remember if I actually said the words thank you, but thank you so much. I appreciate you a lot. You're just kidding. You knew you were gay in middle school, but you came out when you were 12 and taking it. Wait. And been taking it ever since? Wait. What do you mean taking it? What does that mean? What does that mean? Hold on. What does taking it mean? But I'm glad that you all were able to figure. Sorry, I choked on my own throat. I'm glad that you guys were able to figure out like yourselves from a young age. So many people struggle with that, and they struggle with like coming to terms with that. And I think that that's so wrong. Like, I feel like it's so wrong that society has put that in people's heads that they have to feel wrong about being who they are. I hate it. I could go on such a huge rant about this, but I'm not going to. Ah, man. Hey, yo, what the frog doing? Right? Right? Look at the boy. He do be caked. He do be caked. And John said they came out at 6? That's so awesome. Stupid Austin, it's AZ. AstraZeneca though. I don't know, I feel like the only reason why they don't like it here in the US is because it supposedly caused blood clots, I guess. I think that's what they said. But I'm just like, really? I don't know. Did it actually cause it, or was it like other things that caused it in those people? You never know. You never know. You need thick frog boy in your life? Alright, I will save one for you.
Stay thick.
Hell
right?
yeah!
Beautiful people.
Stay thick. Stay thick. Like Mr. Frog over here. You're about to chow down. Wait, what are you chowing down on? I want food. Give me food. You want a dumpy frog? Alright, I'll ask Mr. Santee to make some more dumpy frogs. Although, wait, I might actually have enough. Wait, do I have enough? I might have enough. I could probably just also print one myself. But wait, no comment. Wait. Okay, I think I know what you mean now. That says it all, LaRuse. I shall not tell you what that means. I'm pretty sure I know what that means now, LaRuse. I was wondering, like, Glug Glug 2000. So I was wondering if that's what it meant. But I was also like, I'm not gonna assume what they mean by that. Oh my gosh, you're funny. I like you guys. You guys are awesome. Yes, gamer, I choked on my own fucking throat. It touched itself and it didn't like it. Please help. You were forced out of the closet. Wait, really? What the fuck? That's not okay. I'm pretty sure I've only talked to like maybe 3 people about myself when it comes to terms like that. So you all don't even know. You all don't even know. Maybe you guys will know one day. We'll see. The argument of a lot of women made here in Canada was that the chance was lower than ones from the birth control pills. Yo, birth control fucks you up. Birth control fucks you up, dude. I hate it. I was on it in high school and part of college, and then I couldn't afford it anymore. And I'm back on it now, and I actually don't like it. Makes me tired all the time, I feel like. And I don't know, I wake up with headaches every day now. And it does not doing what it's meant to be doing. Please send help. They had heart or health condition prior. That's why, like, if you're healthy, you should be fine. Yeah, see, that's what I was wondering. I don't know, though. I haven't looked at, like, the studies or anything, so, like, I can't really speak to that effect. But yeah. Although, I have not great heart status, so, you know. Diabetes is a big reason for it? Oh, heck. I'm actually really curious as to how I don't have diabetes right now. I don't know. Wait, what do I not know? You're a PG good innocent boyo? You don't have to be PG here. This is an 18 plus stream. Do whatever the fuck you want. Just be respectful about it, you know? You said the frog got cake and you're about to chat. Oh, that. Oh no. There are enough cases that internet is continuing. Oh, yep. That's fair. That happened with Johnson & Johnson too. They stopped it for a little bit and then they brought it back. How much for one of the frogs? You pay upwards of 50 cents.
Get out of it, you fucking cunt. Or you, get out of it, you fucking mongrel.
Josh, I will send you one if you really want one. I'll just send you one. Do they consider other factors like they were women on contraceptive pill? Oh, that's true. That's true. You have a new package that you just ordered? Wait, it's very white and coming next week. Wait, what? What oh, wait, you got it? Wait, Alex, you actually bought it? Alex, no way! No way, that's so awesome! Yeah, exactly, Ducky. Don't be a fucking cunt. Don't be a fucking cunt to other people. Ducky, I absolutely fucking love that clip of you. That's probably my favorite community clip, not gonna lie. Larus! Larus, I feel like this song is for you and all the other people that belong in horny jail, okay? Here you go. just chill and jam out to some Honey Ducky amazing vocals here. Okay? This is for all you people that are constantly in horny jail. So leadership CNT stream 18 plus gang. Yeah, especially with that game. Put it on your Boink playlist. See, Ducky gives you permission. Put it on those playlists, folks. Oh man, I don't know. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say something, but I don't know if that's public knowledge. Super freaky, yeah, super freak this shit up. I love this song so much. It's so good.
Get out of it, you fucking cunt. Or you, get out of it, you fucking mongrel.
Oh, that was actually literally perfect timing. Right in the middle of vocals. Jesus. Perfect timing.
Oh, you wanna get freaky?
Yeah, Izzy, I agree that it's stupid that you can't travel with it. Hello, Rose. I don't know if wait. So High by Donut Cat? Do I know that song? I meant this song right here. This song right here is for all of you people that are constantly in horny jail. Super freaky, yeah, super freaky, yeah, super freak that shit up. Super freaky, yeah, super freak that shit up. Love this so much. Oh, Doja Cat. Oh, I think I know Doja Cat, but do I know that song? Alright, hold on. I'm gonna play like a hot second of it because it might be the song I know. Hold on. I'm skipping through it so I don't get DMCA'd. Okay, yeah, I don't know this one. But I know who Doja Cat is. I was like, just skipping through it so I can hear like little bits and pieces of it. I don't want to get DMCA'd. Alright. You Got It Bad by Usher? Ooh, Leslie! Leslie likes that Usher music. Okay, I gotcha. It's not your government. Give me a minute. Yeah, I'm sorry, Izzy. That's a really tough situation. Honestly, forgot you were playing games. Yeah, we'll be playing games here a little bit. We'll start playing Human Fall Flat here soon. Glory hole? What the hell is that, Alex? I know what a glory hole is, but like, what the fuck? It's a song. Wait, by Steel Panther? Oh wait, no, I think I know that song actually. Yep, I'm pretty sure I actually know that song. Yup. You give a good performance to that song? Singing it? So now we know that LaRousse likes to sing. I'd be interested to hear you sing. Wait, do you stream? I'm gonna go see if you stream. LaRousse does not stream? What the heck? Alright. What do we gotta do to hear LaRousse sing? This is my question. What do we gotta do to get you to sing, LaRousse? Oh, okay. I see. Say no more. No, please, no, not that song. Wait, are you... Izzy, you don't like the Glory Hole song? Oh my gosh, Izzy. Oh my gosh. Mr. Izzy likes Steel Panther? Yeah, I get you. I get you, LaRousse. I get you. Rock your body. I like that song. Justin Timberlake. NSYNC. NSYNC. Me as a child, NSYNC. Yes. Holy hell. Oh my god. Everything I had when I was younger was either horses or NSYNC. Like, you could bet on that. Oh, LaRousse. I'll take your word for it. Get it, LaRousse, get it. Oh man. You knew that I liked NSYNC. Wait, hold on. What gave you that vibe? If that's what you're talking about. Camila Cabello. I don't know if I know that one. Bad Things? Maybe I do. Both are instant horny jail. Holy heck. I don't have any triggers like that. I'm also ace, so like nothing really triggers me. So you know. Triggered in that sense. Nothing in that sense. That's what I meant. Traumatic triggers, yes. Sexual triggers, no. One sec, bathroom, no problem. When you get back, Potion, I might bring you on and we might get started. Must be nice to not be horny jail all the time. Fair enough. Oh my gosh, yep. Same here, Leslie, same here. Uh-oh, you got a stream buffer? Wait, did anybody else's stream just buffer? Did anybody else's stream just buffer? Because if so, that'd be bad. I think I just played my stream and it sounds, or looks fine. I do not want to see it, lose. I do not want to see it, promise. Oh, you had a little stream buffer too? Okay. It looks like I'm fine now. Maybe my internet dropped for like a hot second. Internet might have dropped for like a hot second. Alright, let me hold on, one second. Alright, so wait, what? Oh, let's see. Oh my god, I was like, what is your message about? I understand. Yeah, I get you. That really sucks though, like, that people, I'm assuming like the person that does it is the person I'm thinking of, and like they should know by now, but yeah, no.
No cap. I will ruin my reputation to woman by Doja Cat though.
Yes, LaRousse, get it. Oh my gosh. Thank you for the 10 biddies. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Like last night? Yep. That's not the person I was thinking of, but yeah. That was rough. Ow, fuck! I did it again! God damn it! I'm playing with the little stretchy thing with the metal parts on the end again. I just fucking bonked my finger. God damn it! Ow. No problem, LaRousse. Do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. Alright. Is Potion back? I am fucking clumsy, dude. I am so fucking... Oh, I made myself bleed! I actually made myself bleed. Look. Wait, can you see it? I don't know if you see it. You look! You see a little bit of it. You see that little red dot? I know! Alex, no! I have a 0 pain tolerance. That would not go over well. That would not go over well at all. You've been lurk listening and you've been like, what the heck is happening? Gamer, no! Gamer, no! Oh, fuck! Gamer, we've gone off the fucking rails. I don't know what to tell you, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Especially video games that one gets... Yeah, it really does. I'm sorry. Video games are rough for those. But yeah, no, I literally have like a 0 pain tolerance. And my body doesn't heal very fast. And I bruise and get cuts very easily, so... Point in case! But yeah, so Potion, if you are ready, I think that we can get started with the game if you would like. Are you there?
Possibly.
Yeah?
Maybe.
Were you watching my stream on your phone?
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't know.
I
don't
heard
even
my
own a
voice.
phone.
I heard my voice in the background.
That must be your mic echoing on your own headphones. It's kind of weird, honestly, that it does that.
Yeah, does
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it's actually a
Okay.
bit
Yeah.
weird. Wait, were you watching your own stream on like your DS or something?
My
Yeah.
DS.
Yeah, your big Nintendo DS. That's the
Uh-huh.
size of 18 laptops.
Yeah,
By the way,
yeah.
that's so incredible. Good job. I don't
Oh
know how
my
you did that.
gosh. Anyways, everybody say hi to Potion.
No one
Potion
can.
is one of the mods here, if y'all don't know that yet. And we're gonna be playing Human Fall Flat because he chose it.
I didn't choose it. It chose me.
Bruh. You're
Fuck,
gonna
wait, I can
go
go.
watch VMRs? Alright, no problem. Have fun with that and with Sims, Leslie. Thank you for the lurk. I appreciate you. Alright. I'm moving everything over to my other monitor. And then, are you in the game already?
Yeah, I already have a lobby started.
Oh, well shit. Alright.
I've been in the game for like at least 2 hours now.
I've been in the game for a little bit too, but not like actively. Oh, it's cute. Oh god, I just burped. Fuck. Not actively in the game. Oh god. Okay, we're good. I'm good.
Are
I'm
we?
good. Not no.
Oh, good.
Definitely not. Definitely
Good.
not good.
Bad. Sorry. Should have corrected myself the first time.
Alright. I'm gonna pull up the game. We're gonna go over to Twitch screen. Please
From the
actually bring the
planet
game
of
up. Oh
Aqualia.
god.
I, Queen Lesia,
Hey, it's
cordially
up.
invite
Let's go.
you to be a magnificent member of the Potion is
All right,
Sus Society.
just let me know when to invite you. If you need to change any settings, I'll give you some time.
I was letting Avo do his Potion Sus redemption, you know?
All I heard is that you're banning Avo currently. Which is,
No!
that's okay.
No, I
Take your
love
time
Avo
to
too
ban
much. No.
Well, you said ban him. I don't know.
No, you said ban him. Alright, we're gonna customize our
well,
little boy.
You didn't say not to, so let me go ahead and just do that for you.
No, I'm
Hold on.
gonna customize my boyo. Wait, Oh my god, there's so many. There's so many options.
Yeah, you can even paint on it.
Wait, I could be an actual e-girl.
That's not something I expected to hear out of fucking Human Fall Flat.
I can be an e-girl.
Okay. Be a VTuber.
Whoa. Yo, guys, I'm gonna be an actual e-girl. Let's go. Also, this game is getting really loud. Hold on. Let's go. Oh my gosh.
I'm timing out Josh for 18 hours. Hold on.
So we're banning potion. Got it.
No, you misheard me. I said timing out Josh for 18 hours, not that one.
Bruh.
Yeah.
We're blasting off
See,
again.
now you-
Title of my
that's
sex
good.
tape.
I love that one so much. Ooh, I like that hair. What does this color do? Ooh! Wait. Oh, it changes the line color. I see. I see. Okay, what about... Ooh, 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 pretty. I don't know, I feel like I'm making it look worse actually. Never mind. Ooh, okay, I like that color. Let's get some like actual white on there. Wait, where'd the pretty headphones go? Fuck off. Alright. Ah, Static Bear! Wait, really? Shifter sent you? What the hell? Bruh. Thank you so much for the Prime sub. I appreciate you. Also, if you guys are talking right now, tell me I said hey. Alright, wait, mask? Mask?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh. Whoa, wait. Oh, okay. Okay, I get it. I see what's happening.
Do you actually?
I don't, but
You're
you
just
know.
taking guesses and pressing buttons?
Yeah.
Good, that's what I did when I first started.
All
I
right,
just
all
pressed
right.
every fucking button.
Wait, how do
Now
I want to put streaks in her hair. Guys, this is now e-girl simulator, okay?
This poor fucking game. You've already abused it. It's not what it's made for. It's supposed to be a wholesome game, and look what you turned it into.
Oh no. Oh no.
Don't you say, oh no, you're the one causing this wreckage.
Oh,
Wait, can I do this? I can!
Wait, I gotta put the other e-girl stripe in, hold on. Wait, it's going on the other side of her head too, what the fuck? Guys, look at this! Oh no, it's so bad! Wait, what does painting on the back do?
It paints on the back.
Absolutely nothing, it does nothing. Alright,
Very true.
alright. Holy shit. Oh man. Okay, wait, what is this? What does this do? If I actually... Oh, so, okay, the back faces was a thing. Never mind. Aw, but you're so nice. Okay, I'm gonna do that. And then we're going to do... that. You see my e-girl? Is she cute? Don't.
That's...
Don't
I
mind.
don't know if I...
Don't wait. Just don't look at the like blood running down her face. Like, don't mind that part. But like,
the fuck did you do to her?
don't.
Why does she have a
worry
giant
about
gaping
it.
wound with just blood leaking out? What
Don't
did you do?
worry about it. Okay.
Does she need to go to the fucking hospital?
Just don't worry about it.
God damn! Oh no, that poor fucking person. Calling the police.
Does that look like eyes? Kind of, maybe a little bit. We're gonna say it's eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. There we go. Cool.
You don't know the word I would use. But yeah.
Alright, guys. Here is my e-girl. We are ready to fall flat. So let's go. This is now e-girl fall flat. Hold on. I need to update my title now and say that is now e-girl fall flat.
I invited you.
I
whenever you're
saw. I
Alright.
was updating my title to be e-girl. Because I am now an e-girl. What should we name her? What should we name our character?
ready. Is that you?
Where?
Right there?
Where?
The fuck?
I only see.
That is you.
Wait.
Have
All
you
I
not
see
loaded
is
in?
the menu. I see the menu. It says mansion, and
Oh, hit escape.
you should
Should
hold
what?
on. Hold on.
Hit
Hold on.
escape.
Give me 1 second.
How? Did you fucking change my name on theme? Oh my god. That's not even my issue, that's your issue. Oh well. I don't give a shit really.
Okay.
Anyways, hit escape. Hit escape on the menu. And then look around. You should be able to.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Can I move? Oh my god, the way that she moves! What the
Among
fuck?
Us.
Whoa!
Among Us.
Wait, okay.
Among Us.
Okay, so the left click is the left arm and the right click is the right arm. How do you? Can I like? Oh, okay.
Among Us. Look at me. Do you see me right here? you
Wait,
see
I'm
me?
trying. I'm trying. How'd you get up there?
I parkoured up here. Hold on. Look at me.
Bro, you didn't even do anything to your little dude.
What do you mean? Have I not loaded in for you?
You're just
I
you're
haven't
just a
loaded in for you.
figure. You're just a little white figure.
Yeah, you're taking a while to load.
I don't think
What do
that's
you
what
see
this
around
is.
you right now? It is, yeah.
It's a cafeteria from Among Us. Oh my god, that's why you keep saying Among Us. Fuck.
Among Us! Let's go through the door. Among Us door. Let us go to gun. I need you to do this so you can prove to me that you're not the imposter. You sussy baka.
Oh my
I need you to do that. Do that right now.
Jess,
You do that, gun.
Jess, thank you so much for the lurk. How the fuck do I do this?
You better. Oh, that's a little weird. That's a little sus. Come here. Follow me. Follow me and prove it to me more that you're not a sussy and baka. Come here.
Oh my god.
Wait, is this even a? No, this isn't a task. Let's go this way.
Okay, okay,
Are you
okay.
still back there? You tried to vent?
Yeah.
I'll show you. I need you to do admin in front of me. Prove
What?
me
Do
that
admin?
you are. Yes.
Is that? But admin's not even a visual task.
Oh, that's something an imposter would say. Follow me. We're gonna go this way.
This is so cool. Somebody made this.
Yes. I still can't believe I haven't loaded in for you. Follow me.
So is this? Is
I
just?
need you to.
Wait.
What the fuck is this?
Is this the game?
Oh, it's that task. Do that weird fucking task.
Shields?
No, this is a lobby. Yeah, do that one. I see you standing over the vent. Kind of fucking weird.
I'm not sus.
Alright.
You're sus.
Yeah, sure.
You're sus.
Yeah, sure. That's what they all say.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't get out. The door's locked.
How do I? How do I go? How do I?
Don't kill me.
How do I?
Don't worry about it. What are you trying to do?
I want in the vent.
Hold on. What are you doing? Hey! Hey! Whoa! What are you doing over here? No. What are you doing over here? You get off that.
This is
Come
my
here.
vent.
Get off! You're going out. You're going out to shoot. Come here. You're going out to shoot. Don't make you run away.
No, my bit.
I saw that you were the sussy Blanca. The first. Stop! Don't fight me! Come on me! No, let go! You can't hold on forever.
Sure
You're gonna blow off
can.
the
Watch
ship.
me.
No! You know what? Fine. Fine. Whoa, where are you going? Ah, I got you now! Sneaker said, stop jumping!
Save me,
No,
plant.
stop.
Save me.
The fucking
Save me,
plant won't
plant.
save you.
No. Save me, plants.
Get off the plant! How are you sticking on there? Was your hand made out of fucking Gorilla Glue? Get
Yes.
off! No!
Bro.
Ah.
Bye, plant.
Come here. Fuck!
I'm running. Goodbye.
You ain't running far.
Oh wait, what happened to my game? Oh god. Wait, oh you loaded in. Hey. Oh god.
Hey, I loaded in.
Oh god.
I'm anime.
Oh
Hello.
god.
Hi. Among Us. Among Us.
Wait, how'd you get that? How'd you get that
I'm
skin?
anime.
But how'd you
But
get that
anyways.
skin?
Let's go through that door. I can
Um,
tell you because you're gonna sit there and do it for an hour.
Cereal! Oh my god. What's up, Cereal? Also, maybe I want to do it for an hour.
No, it's
Wait,
at the workshop.
Wait, I just
Don't
ran.
do it for an
I
hour.
just ran into a wall. Blech.
Okay, you ready to go to the first map? You want to go to the first level, or do you want to actually get one of these models? Because it's just the Steam Workshop.
No. We can we can just go
Alright.
do. We can just go do
Anime
so.
ass. All right,
Yeah.
here. I'll put us on the first level. I got you.
Alright. Yeet through life. Let's go. No! I'm not gonna get off my phone. Mister, get off your
Yo,
phone
what's going
yourself.
on, chat? How's everyone doing tonight? I hope you're all
I am
doing well,
so
baby.
sorry,
Let's
but
fucking
this
go.
we're
Let's
actually
get some
playing a
answers
different
in the
game right
chat.
Drago! What's up, Drago? Yes,
sorry.
sirs.
This is a different game because I didn't actually feel like playing Fall or Team Fall Flat, so let's just play.
Oh, I feel like this is
come on.
copyright infringement.
I'm gonna win. Come on.
My computer's
Gamer better
having
not snipe us right now.
my computer's having major
What?
issues.
Is it really?
Yeah. Gamer, look, it's Fall Guys. Gamer.
Gamer better not snipe us. He's a sussy little bucket. Come on, you gotta keep up. I know I have anime powers, but that doesn't give you a reason to fall behind.
I think I need to turn
This-
down my quality.
Okay.
Wait.
Let me explain. What is this? Is Fall Guys.
Oh,
Isn't it
I'm
obvious? It says
VSync.
right there.
Why is VSync on?
I don't know. Why do you have VC go? You think
Why
I
is
turned
that
it on
the-
for you?
Why is that the norm?
I don't know.
Bruh.
Am I supposed to answer this? Like, you think I made the game?
Ah,
Yes.
okay, that made it all worse. I think it might actually just be the map. Gamer, I have
The
no
map?
idea what this is. I have
I'm
no
at
idea.
200 frames. It is not the map.
I also have 212 frames.
Then why are you not running at 212? Ah! Then why are you not running at
Wait,
it?
checkpoint! I missed
Checkpoint.
it! I missed it!
Ah, I got it.
This is so scuffed! This is so fucking scuffed!
Ah,
This is
I
so
made it.
fucking scuffed!
I'm gonna get the victory royale.
Number one
Excuse
victory!
me, I'm
Oh
away.
yeah, boy, now I'm about to get down. Oh, that's how I feel, my e-girl. My e-girl self. Gamer, did you see
How
my
the-
e-girl self? Look at
Do I
her.
do
Is she
this one?
cute? Did I hear
No, I
Gamer
don't
can't
wanna
insert
do
until
slime
Gamer gets
climb.
5 wins on Fall Guys and he went Fall Flat? Gamer, wait, you should actually.
Oh no. How far behind are you?
Pretty
Oh
far.
my god, you just got there?
Yeah, I actually don't know how this is working right now because hold on.
You, You want to edit your settings more?
I have.
Maybe
Wait, that's
restart the
audio,
game.
video. But like, how? Do I turn down the resolution? I turned down the resolution. That didn't
okay,
help.
turn off
That
HDR,
did not
turn
help.
off bloom, turn off depth of field.
All right,
and
all right,
auto
hold on.
exposure. Turn off everything.
All right, turn off everything.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh god, it's gotta be so weird. It's gotta look so weird.
What the fuck? Okay, almost. I'm sorry. I have to do this to you.
No! What do you do when I come back to you? Throw me
Nothing!
on the fucking edge!
Oh!
Run!
Yes!
No! What the
Damn
fuck is this? What?
See ya. That's strats. That's pro strats right there.
Bruh, I
got
don't know.
this. Look at this. I'm bunny hopping down. I'll see you later.
Hold on,
Oh,
maybe
stop.
I
I don't know
can.
how to jump.
No, Spotify's not even on. I don't know what's happening right now. Do I have other people's streams up in the background? No. Why is it like this?
I don't know.
The season 1 music is nostalgic. I know. How do they have this music in the game is what I want to know.
How does it look like on your stream? Is it also choppy on there?
I mean, it has to be choppy on stream if it's choppy when I'm playing it. Right?
That's true. How is this game beating your computer? That's what I'm wondering.
I actually don't know. Because like, I have like 230 frames right now. 300 frames. 335. 345. 350.
Almost got it. I can
Bro,
switch
what?
levels if
How
you
did I
like.
get over there?
Ah, fuck. Easy.
Oh my
Easy.
gosh, Desmond, hi, how you doing? We are an e-girl in Human Fall Flat today, and my computer is apparently having very many issues playing this game, and I don't know how. How is this game too much for my computer? Wait, maybe put us like, should I, wait, hold on. Should I restart my game and see if it helps?
That's what I'm
Like, maybe it's like just this first startup is bad.
Could be. Try it out.
All right, let's
You can
try
join in
it.
and get like mid game too when I invite you, so it's all good.
All right. All right, give me 1 second, folks. We are going to restart the game and see if that helps. The game is too powerful. The game is too powerful, Drago. Bro, whoa.
Maybe the VSync thing didn't actually apply until you restart the game.
Oh, maybe. That could be it, actually. Alright, we fell flat. Let's go. Did you invite me already?
I'm inviting you. I'm doing that now. There you go.
Hell yeah, let's go.
I don't know if you go back to checkpoint or all the way back in spawn. So good luck. Oh, hey, you go back to checkpoint.
Did I actually? How?
I don't know. It just put you there.
That's actually crazy. Wait. Alright, let's see if this works better. Nah, it does not. It does not. It's
You want me to
worse.
try changing level?
It's worse.
Here, I'll change the level. Okay, I'll send it to a default level and tell me how that looks to you. Let us see. How the fuck do I do this? Exit to lobby.
Oh no. Oh no. Fuck. Oh
All right.
no.
Here. This is just the lobby. Tell me how this works.
Failed to load file.
This. Good. Good.
Do I have a Steam update? Do I have a Steam update that I don't know about?
I mean, so in the background, this should be downloading a bunch of workshop maps.
Oh no.
So Here, we'll go to a normal level and see if that works for you. If
Please.
it doesn't, then
Oh my god, it actually is like downloading shit in the background. What the fuck?
yeah, these are all workshop. It has to download. Okay, here we're gonna go to mansion. That's just normal game. Like this is the very beginning of the game. Tell me if this looks good to you.
It might be my internet, cause like you keep going robot-y every once in a while. Where the hell did my leg go?
Really?
I have one leg.
One leg?
Yeah,
That's all you need.
I got one leg.
Where?
We
Where the
we
fuck did your
hopping
leg
now.
go?
We hopping now. Oh
Hell yeah. Hey, I have an idea. What if it's my server? What if that's the issue? Do you want to try hosting?
no. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we'll see if that works.
Also, this music.
No.
What'd you say no to?
Yeah, this is the normal music. It's a job.
Sorry, I had to turn the music down a little bit.
Okay.
Guess you could say she's really
So
going
go-
out on a limb. Fuck. wait.
Damn.
The ragdoll in
Oh,
this game
man.
is hilarious. I know. I wish I could get it to actually work properly. But okay, so play online.
Yep.
You have voicemail with my voice on it from stream? Wait, really? That sounds cool. What did I say in it though? Okay. Got that.
So do you know how to set up the settings correctly?
Nope.
Okay. So the primary things that you want to do is hold on. Let me go back to create a server and show you.
I have it
okay,
on
so
Max
settings-
too. Invite only. Join game in progress enabled and not lock the level.
Yep, don't lock the level. Yep, all those are right.
Cool.
So just go ahead and start it,
Look at me.
and I'll go ahead and.
I'm a
join.
pro.
You did it. Congrats.
It's in the
Dude.
background? Wait, what do you mean it's in the background? I need to know what I was saying. Hold on. Tell me. Do 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 do.
I'm also gonna do something to see if this works a little bit better.
Well, so far it's loading better. Yeah, it seems like it's working way better with me doing it. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Here we go. Let's go. So what do we do in this game?
Humans. They will run
Oh.
through the door.
So there's a bunch of levels that we have to go through. There is a story mode.
That's apparently what I'm
and-
going through. There's a narrator.
Oh, you're already in this mansion. Okay.
They will push
I
out
will go ahead and
those
join you. I was trying to connect to my phone, but it says no internet, so never mind. Looks like I'm playing on my internet.
What are these little block things?
Blocks.
yeah,
Good
thanks.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Appreciate it. I was talking about plans to
Anytime.
meet more Twitch friends, and then the follow alert? It's from unknown. Wait, what? You mean somebody left you a voicemail with my stream?
to achieve their goals.
That's actually creepy if that's what you mean. I'm so confused. Why does that guy look like he's peeing into the fountain?
He is peeing into the fountain.
Ah, okay, good,
What's
good.
wrong with that?
Good.
What's wrong with peeing into the fountain? That's a normal American pastime. You're saying,
And a grand
Oh,
opportunity
yeah, there you go.
with both of their hands.
Yeah.
jump through!
Yet
Whee!
they fly and never will.
Can't believe you would jump through like that.
Bruh. Okay, if I
joking.
turn this up a little bit more. I know that there are subtitles, but I would like to be able to hear it as well. Never trust messages from unknown source. Facts. Big facts.
Stop fighting!
Fuck off! Fuck off!
Save me! Help me up!
Lussie, that's actually really scary,
Oh,
and
thank
I kinda wanna know who sent that now. You should send me more information about that sometime.
Look at the choo-choo train.
Heckin' choo choo. Choo choo bitches! Alright. How the hell do we get up there? I just like face bonked into
Push
that.
me up. Hey, thanks. Oh, fuck. So we can go this way, or we could drag this,
Can you like send
which
me
is
the,
what the game wants us to do.
Can you send me the audio file of that? Question mark?
Don't look up my skirt.
I'm
Thank
not
you.
looking up your skirt. Fuck.
Damn right. Hey, wait. I want to take this trash can with me. Free trash can. They just left it here.
Oh, is this a puzzle game? I feel like this is a puzzle
hard
game.
puzzle game. Yeah, a hard puzzle. Look at this puzzle.
I
So
know.
difficult.
This is like the most difficult puzzle ever, actually.
Why are you taking that route when we could just... Fuck. Hold on. I don't want to go through the door. My goal in this game is to never go through doors. Fuck.
You
Oh,
should you should push the train a little bit.
Hold on, I just got over the wall. I got it.
Push the train. Wait,
Push
maybe
the
not.
train.
Maybe not actually push it. Wait, how do we move this one?
Push the train. Push
Can
it
you?
up.
No, you push the bottom one. Push the one that I'm on right now.
Why?
No, big.
Just get up it.
Wow! What the fuck? How'd you do that?
Easily.
Jesus!
Fuck, this is heavy. Help me.
I don't know how to get up. Oh, okay, I got up.
There you go.
I want to go off.
Hey, you want to see the place I got stuck in?
Yeah.
Like, I figured out that I didn't mean to grab your head, but you're coming with me. You know what they say about head pats? Well, guess what? Head grab.
I guess
Come
I'm
on.
going with you now.
Come
Let's
on.
go. All right. Let's. Yep.
Come on.
Goodbye.
Oh, wait, this isn't the area. No! You're supposed to go! Let me throw you!
All right.
Fuck. No, not me! You, only you! Please. Please. Yes! Yes! No! Fuck. Are you there? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, you are. You blew out your microphone. Good job.
Yeah, Discord likes to blow out audio. It's fine.
That's true. Fuck. Okay. No, why are you grabbing me? Stop. No, I ain't leaving here.
I was told
I
to
ain't
throw you
going.
off the map. I gotta
I
throw you
ain't
off the
going.
map.
Nah, it
I
ain't
gotta throw
happening.
you. Come on.
Nah.
Come on.
Nah.
Come on.
Nah.
Come
nah,
on. Let's
nah.
go. Off the map we
Nope.
go.
Nah, too bad. You know, this is. I like this well. It's pretty nice. Don't you like it? Like. Yes. Free.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, take this bench with me.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's too heavy.
Now that was the
wait,
renewal
no,
fee
I
that
got
you
it.
paid for your vehicle's extended warranty. Wait. That you also paid in iTunes cards? You don't even have it. Wait. What? I'm
Hey.
so confused. Somebody used your card? Is that what you're saying?
Hey, I know you're busy with that whole puzzle thing, but help me
This
get this.
is part of the puzzle.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, this is free furniture. Get off of it. It's free furniture. Fuck.
Let's see. I
I want
tried.
to take it with us.
I tried.
I want to take it with us.
Well, why isn't it moving more?
Thank
No,
you.
this way.
Because you
Come-
were on it.
No, this way. You fuck.
What? No, that's not how. No, I want to take it with us.
Wait, how do you actually get up there? Can you actually climb?
Yeah, you can climb. But also, you don't get up this way. This isn't the actual puzzle
Wait,
way.
really?
But we'll do it anyways. Ugh,
Wait, how'd you do that?
easy.
How?
Okay, put both your arms up in the sky
Okay.
and jump towards. So hold W and jump upwards, and then start pushing your mouse downwards.
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Mozambique.
Is this where
over
I
here.
got like found a secret that I got stuck in? Oh, it is. Look.
You got stuck in that hole?
Yeah, watch. Fuck. There we go. Oh, I couldn't get in. Yeah, go in, go in.
E-girl.
Ah,
E-girl basement.
look what's in here.
Oh no. Oh no, I'm lost. I'm lost!
Come here.
I'm lost. I don't know where I am. It's too dark.
I broke the game.
I'm
I can
lost.
only see my ghostly floating head. Good thing my gamma is at like 500%. I can see any like shine of light, but also now it's completely dark. Oh no!
Oh no!
Is that where I was supposed to go? Okay, I found it. I got it.
Oh no, wait, I'm actually lost.
I found my way out. See ya. Haha. Wait! There's a secret exit. What?
Is there?
Yeah! There's a door here. Wait.
Okay, I'm just gonna go back out this hole. Give me a
Oh, no.
second.
Oh no,
wait,
the
can I
door's
not?
not opening.
Can
The door's
I,
not
Can I
opening.
actually not get out this hole? Wait.
Use the box.
Oh,
The door's not opening.
why is the
What?
door not opening?
I don't know. I found a secret door and then the fucking thing's not opening. Please. Oh my god, I'm gonna try and ram into it. Hit my head hard enough. Maybe I'll wake up from this nightmare. Let me out.
Wait, how can I use the box?
Drag the box.
I did.
Drag it better.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Fuck. I still can't get out of this door. Why did I find a secret
I
door?
can't get out of the box. Help. But how
I'm
do I
gonna have
get,
to
how do I
wander
get
through
on
this
the
complete
box?
darkness.
How do I get on the box?
Just get
Ah,
on it.
there we go. I got it. I got it. I got it. Don't worry. I did it! Fuck, I almost fell off.
I'm stuck again.
Wait, I want to
No.
see where this door is. Wait, I think the door is down there, actually. Hold on.
Fuck, I'm stuck.
Hold on. Hold on.
I had a low checkpoint.
Oh, no, the door's not down here. I'm fucked. Thank you. I don't know.
I found a secret door and it didn't do anything. It just fucking didn't
I
even
died.
work. Who puts a door in a game that doesn't even work?
Leslie says, not Leslie, sorry. Izzy says that the secret door sounds sus.
Listen.
I
know
agree, Izzy.
It's because they're talking about, I call another part of my body the secret door. Yeah. Fuck. Okay, got it. Did you look up my skirt?
Yeah.
You, god damn it. You're not supposed to, wait, can we get up there?
I can't get
Wait.
up here currently. How did I do that last time?
Okay, remember, look at me.
I
Arms.
don't want to look at
up.
you.
Oh fuck. Arms up. Jump.
Yeah.
And then push mouse down. There you go. Can
Yeah?
we get up here?
I didn't do it.
If we can, we can cheese the game. You got it. Come on, you got it. Almost. Keep
I
trying.
can't. I can't do it.
The prison pocket.
Bruh.
I call it my prison lunchbox,
Oh, hey,
but you want to call it the
Shifter.
pocket, you can
Hey,
go
grab
for
me,
it.
grab me, grab me, grab me, grab me,
I got
grab
you.
me.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah!
Let's go.
I pulled you by the hair. Woo. Hope that felt good. 'cause
Oh my gosh. Alright, wait, okay. I want to know where that secret door is that you found. Like, does it come out somewhere?
I actually don't know. Is there a door? That's the beginning, so I'm not gonna go down there. You have fun with that.
Oh no! Wait, hold on. Yeet.
Wait, I wonder if I could do this.
Fucking yeet, dude.
I can't. Oh,
Wait, okay, so that is that one stuck?
yeah, that one's stuck.
Is this one
So-
stuck?
If I remember right, I cheesed this one really hard.
Wait, but to get up there, right?
Yeah, just push that one slightly this way. Or we could cheese
Wait.
this, ready? Which is what I did.
What are you gonna do?
Fuck, almost. Every time I play this game, I find a different way to get up. Okay, let me try the pole.
So are you technically supposed to get like over there then?
You're just supposed to get to this door. Fuck! Come on, I can almost do it. Oh, I can almost do it.
Wait,
Let go of
wait,
that arm.
wait.
Shit.
Wait.
No, okay. I need to.
Guess that's a question of capacity. Oh! We got
Is he asking about the capacity of my prison pocket?
Yeah, he is.
Dude, I can hold 18 raccoons in there.
Wait. Can you hold the like 69 game cubes that Jess can hold though?
Game cubes, that's for chumps. And also
Uh-huh.
chumps. Yeah.
Alright, I'm stuck. Alright.
Good
I
job.
got it, don't worry.
Wait. I think I know how to.
wait.
I think I know how I cheesed it. Fucking this block. Jump on it.
I see what I'm supposed to do though.
Yeah. It's easy. It's just I cheese when I play this game. Come on.
Ah, I almost ran myself over.
Fuck. I can almost do it. Here, let me try and get on this piece.
You played this game a ton on mobile when you were stuck in the hospital? Oh, that's so cool. You had something to do. This is fun. It seems like a. Oh god, wait. I don't think I did that right. It seems like it'd
Got
be a
it.
good game to like waste time.
Hey,
What?
cheesed it again.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey,
Hey.
wait.
Hey.
Hey, wait.
Hey.
Wait, okay.
I made up mozzarella.
Fuck! Fuck! Wait. Okay, I got this.
Here. No.
Grab
fuck,
me! No!
No.
I was asking to grab me!
Okay.
Wait.
Watch. I get up on this like green puke, right?
I think it's paint.
And I get up here
Yeah?
like this. Yeah. Fuck. I skipped out on a couple of arm days. Come on, I can do it again. I know I can.
You came to tell about the voicemail? LBU. Wait, what? What is that? Leslie, what is that? Hello, are you okay? Do you need help? Leslie, are you in trouble? Please.
No, let go of the vine.
Oh, fuck.
I
Can
can't
get
let
over
go
there?
of vines. I miss them. Ugh,
You missed the vines?
I'm back up. Come here.
Oh, okay.
We're
Okay.
cheesing this. We ain't playing the
Okay.
game normal.
Okay. I'm going.
Ah, I almost fell.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be hard on mobile, Josh. Honestly. Alright. It's hard. It's hard on fucking
Okay.
PC, dude. Wait, I can't hear myself. Wait, no, let go.
No,
Let
no.
go. Fuck.
Ah, there we go.
Come on.
No, I want to click the button. Thank you.
Wait, I wasn't even grabbed onto you. Hold on. Come here.
No.
Whee!
360. Let's go. Ow.
Achievement unlocked. Choo choo. Choo choo,
Alright.
motherfucker.
No.
What's this?
No.
Yes?
We don't play
Yes.
this game normally.
Yes.
Nope. We are doing the cool trick
What
that I
the
found out. Ugh.
Why?
Ugh.
Oh my god, I'm gonna
Fuck,
actually
that
play
one's a
the
little bit
game.
harder to do.
I'm gonna play
Nah,
the game.
nah,
I'm gonna
nah,
play
we
the game.
cheesed Look at this. I can also do it on
Wait,
this wall.
wait, no,
Oh no. I didn't get enough height.
Wait, it's not. Stay on the fucking button. There.
What?
What? Hey.
Hey, are you playing the game normally?
Yeah,
That's for jumps.
yeah.
Watch me.
Okay. Oh fuck!
See you. I made it over. Watch this. I'm about to make it to the end.
Oh my god.
I made
There
it
have
to
two
the end.
options in the hospital. Yeah. Wait,
Hey, I
the
need
second
your
one you
help.
stayed at had a PS4 in every room. What the heck?
I need
You
your
need
help.
my help? Fuck.
I need your help.
Oh
wait. Did I
uh,
find another cheese way? I might have found another cheese way.
cheese way.
Look at this.
Is that like a causeway but with cheese?
No, it's like Bill Cosby, but not. Wait, how'd you?
What do you mean, how did I?
Oh, there's a button over there?
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to buttons. I'm too pro gamer. Ugh. Got it. Okay, now. Fuck.
What
no!
are you doing?
I'm jumping on the pole, and from the pole, I'm gonna get on top of that so I don't even have to open the door. Yeah.
Have fun with that.
Thank you.
You got to
Fuck,
play
no!
Spider-Man? Oh my god. Have you ever played Spider-Man in VR, Josh? Spider-Man VR is actually pretty sick. Stay. Okay. Can you
I
do me
don't-
a quick favor, bro? Just like real fast.
No.
Just please, just like a quick little.
What?
Okay,
What do you want?
Can you
Huh? What do
can you move the box over there just a little bit? Just you know, a little bit.
Not understanding.
And this red one. Did you put the red
Oh,
one
the-
and you go over there? Yeah.
Oh, you mean
No.
here?
No, over there.
Here?
Yeah. No, keep
Oh,
going.
right here.
Keep going. Keep going.
Oh, sorry, back.
No, this way. Sorry. Yeah, that way. That way.
Oh,
Yeah. That way.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. Keep going.
There you
Keep
go.
going. Keep going a little bit. Just a
I
little-
can't.
Oh, you can.
No, I ran out of power.
Bruh. Are you fucking Thomas the Steam Engine Demon? Come on, let's go.
Whoa, those are. I wouldn't use that name around me. He owes me $50.
Does he?
Hate that guy. Yeah.
Good.
I told him he couldn't do it. He said yes, I can, and then he didn't do it.
I think you got the
Wait, is that
the
Bob?
wrong train.
I think that's Bob,
Whee!
the builder.
Bob the Builder. Fuck off!
You ain't completing the level.
Okay.
I am.
Okay, you're coming
Sorry
with me.
about
You're coming with me.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. You're coming with me.
Rock. Save me. Dwayne.
You're
Wait,
fucking coming with me, bitch.
No, I'm not. I'm going to the exit. Let go of me. Listen. Fuck, I guess we're going to the exit then.
Alright. That's what I thought.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Look at my hair fucking hurts. Can I grab you midair?
No, I'm already out, bitch. Let's go.
Oh, I remember this one. This one's really fun.
Oh, yeah?
Watch. Yeah.
I-
You can't really use a
My
lot of
arm
this.
broke. I'm sorry. I can't help.
Your face. Your face just fucks me up.
Wait, what about my face? Hold on, that's
No,
mean.
nothing,
Hold on.
nothing.
You say my character ain't beautiful? What the fuck?
Where are you?
I don't
Where are
even
you?
know where I am.
How did you miss that jump?
I didn't even
How
jump.
did you
I
miss
was
that
just going
jump?
around like this to look at my face, and all of a sudden I was down here.
What? You gotta follow me.
I don't want to follow you.
Follow me.
Following
Come
you
here.
leads to death.
Come here.
No,
Ah!
goodbye. Goodbye.
Okay. Now, there's a cool thing about this level. There's two cool things about this level. So you actually need to follow me.
No.
And also- Ugh. Ugh.
I'm not following you.
Ugh. I'm taking the board.
What board?
You need this to get over.
Bruh.
This
My
is mine now.
board.
I own this board.
Oh, look, it's Pac-Man. Hell
What
yeah.
the fuck did you just say?
I
There
said
ain't no
it's
goddamn
Pac-Man.
Ugh.
Oh no, I fell! The last block, I
Come
fell!
on.
What are you doing over here?
Nothing. Help me. This thing's fucking heavy.
How do I help?
Listen, I'm a little kawaii anime girl. I don't have big, strong men
But-
muscles.
I'm just an e-girl. I don't have muscles either.
E-girls are like the strongest thing in the world. I seen one lift 18 trucks in a row.
Yeah?
No, I almost got it. God
Wait,
damn it.
how'd you do that? Wait.
Pick it up.
Yeah?
Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
No, this is the wrong. No.
It works!
No.
It works!
Ah, it's fucking heavy. Okay, wait. No, we need to pull it out a little bit more.
Okay.
Come on. Pull it out just slightly. Just a tad.
Wait.
You're not gripped
I
onto it.
can't.
You need to grab it first. Grab it.
So grab it and pull it out. Got it.
Yeah. I don't want any part of this. I'm out of here. I'm too Sugoi. I don't need to know what that means. No! What'd you do? Don't you run away from me? You broke my shit. You come fix it. God damn
I'm
it.
not fixing it. Fix your shit. Fix your own shit.
You broke it. You fix
No,
it.
you fix
You broke it. You pay for it. How about that? Is that better?
it. No. Oh god, you
wait.
never. Wait, Josh never played real VR. Josh, wait, Josh, hold on. We gotta do VR.
Wait.
You gotta play VR sometime. Go do like a VR arcade or something.
Why do I have to do the heavy lifting here?
Because you know gender norms. Let's go.
You mean gender norms? I'm a kawaii anime girl.
Bruh.
Fuck. Here, take
Shifter,
this.
no! No, don't drink the fucking
Here.
water.
Come back here and take this
Wait,
shit.
I got it. Wait, I don't got
Yes,
it.
you
Wait,
can
I
use it as a
don't.
bridge.
I don't got it.
Here.
Wait, fuck!
Oh, it's squashing me. Help! No! Fuck, help me out! Don't get on it! That fucking hurts. No, grab it. Grab it. No, don't
grab
get on it. No. God damn it. Let go of me. We're taking this with us. This is the bridge. You need to get up there and then grab this.
Wait. I have
Here,
to
I'll
grab.
even make
Wait,
it
okay. Why are you leaving this to me? I'm just gonna fuck it up again.
Do you want to be the one down here holding it?
No, I don't even know how you're holding it.
Oh my god. Fuck. Pick it up. Come on.
I'm on my way.
This thing's so fucking heavy.
Oh my god. You're too poor for VR. I'm gonna talk to you after stream.
Did you just fucking
Bro,
jump over it and not pick it up? I saw that. You come back here.
Wait, hold on. Wait, don't I gotta grab it from like on the other one though?
No, just grab it. Grab it, use it as a bridge. We're never gonna get up the fucking mountain.
Why do you need to use that as a bridge? I could just jump on the blocks, my dude.
Fuck it then. You know what? Let's just do it that way, okay? You know what? You said, no cheesing. Let's just play the game normally, but now you're jumping over shit. Fuck, let me up.
Oh my god. Wait, there's like a little crevice over here. What does this go to?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. There's cool things in this
Yeah?
mountain.
Can you like a hardcore parkour? Let's go.
I can.
Yeah?
I'm actually
Alright, come
The,
here. I wanna watch you.
I'm actually the coolest person in the world that can parkour. That's my name.
I
Coolest
don't
person in the world. No!
I would ever call you the coolest person in the world, but you know.
I would. That's all
That doesn't count. What are these
Yeah,
little yellow things?
What?
Climbing.
Default,
Wait, what?
Did you pick that up?
Yeah. Climbing.
default
Properly, you need to get high.
This instructional video was prepared for everyone who does not feel high enough.
Fuck, no!
They need to do
I was so
something about
close.
their situation.
Why did I actually come to the
Climbing is
video?
as easy as doing yoga.
Put the projector down.
Major
We don't need
difference
those.
is that yoga leads you where you started, even if done properly.
Let's
break it
go.
Put the projector down.
Inhale, optional. Approach the obstacle.
Oh, we have to do yoga. All right.
Your hands grabbing the obstacle.
All right.
Go down to pull
Do
yourself
yoga.
up.
Okay.
We do pro
Forward as you
gamer.
release your hand.
You see this video?
Hand release timing is
Get
crucial.
that
Do you-
down.
do you
That's
see it, though?
blasphemy.
Do you see it?
Yes, I see it.
You might as well do yoga
It's a
instead.
projector. Come here. Follow me. We're gonna get in that
You
crowd.
telling me
okay?
to go to the end without the bridge? That's what I plan on doing anyway, Shifter. that was his doing. That's not mine. Wait, what
Watch
does
this.
that one do? Wait, there's another projector.
No, don't get the other one too.
Wait.
God damn it.
Climbing higher. To get even higher, you need to jump before grabbing the edge.
Oh.
I'm already halfway there.
Let's go. Wait, you didn't get that one up there. Grab that.
Come on.
Fuck.
Come on.
Fuck.
We're going the cool route.
How many hours am I streaming for? At least 2.5.
We're going the cool route.
I don't know after that, Josh. We'll see. How many channel points to sabotage potion? Oh, wait. Should I do that for like the co-op streams from now on? I have Among Us ones.
Among Us.
I don't.
Among Us.
Wait, where'd you go? What the fuck are you doing over there?
Yo, what up? I'm iGamer with iGamer Nation, and we're going into this weird, creepy hole in the side of a mountain.
That's not sus at all.
Sorry, I should have rephrased. We're going to this weird, creepy hole inside of. I'm not gonna answer that part. Okay, I'm in it.
I almost missed.
I got my prize. I'm ready to get out now.
Wait, okay. So for everyone that's in chat right now, would y'all want to play Pico Park sometime? That includes you, by the way.
Hey, turn your graphics back up, by the way.
What? It's fine.
No, trust me, you'll want to see this.
Okay, okay.
To the highest.
I guess I can actually do that now that I know what was causing it.
Yeet. Follow me? Look at this. Oh, wait. You're still applying me.
Whoa, that looks way different. Wow.
We're gonna go collect the weird glowing things that I see in this cave.
Okay.
I don't know what they do, but grab them. It's probably something poisonous.
What?
Oh no, we can't go through here. Come on, we're exploring this cave.
Okay. I got
You better
some
keep a
green.
hold of that.
I got it. Don't worry, don't worry.
I think there's one up here too. You're gonna have a bunch.
But I can only hold 2.
Well, we're gonna have to carry 2 at a time out of the cave.
Wait, I think there might be another one over here though.
There's one over here.
There's one right here.
Where?
I got it. I got 2 glowing blocks.
Come here.
I'm double
We're gonna
fisting
get
it.
more.
I can only
There's
hold
another
2.
one right here.
I can only hold 2. You can hold 1.
No, I can't.
Yeah, you can.
No, I don't want to hold one. It's gonna poison me.
What do we
Did I
do with
grab
these
it?
though?
Hold on, I'm trying to grab it. Fuck. Did I get it? Yes, I did.
Sorry. I'm like,
Follow me.
I'm like so distracted by this, guys. I'm so sorry. Pico Park is like a
There's
co-op.
another.
It's a co-op game, and it's like really, really fun and funny. I haven't played it yet. Don't have it
No.
yet, but like,
That's dead end.
bruh. I've seen people play it, and it looks so fun. It looks crazy and chaotic as hell. And I want to play it on stream sometime.
I think this way leads to another. Oh no, that's nope. That's not the way out.
Wait, I'm
There's
just.
another way out in this cave.
I drop these out down here, or do I take them with me?
I don't know what they are, but they're ours. That's what's
Don't know what they are, but they're ours. All right, got it.
Yeah.
Bunny! Hi, Bunny!
Here, let's just take it with us. Or-
I think I think it does cost money. But I would be willing to buy it for people who need it. Yes.
I don't know how we're gonna get across. Our hands are full. There was another way out in there.
Was there?
Yeah.
Alright, let's go.
Woo!
Woo!
Treasure. Woo!
How many? Wait. What? How do we figure out what these are though? Do we just like take them with us as far as we can?
I don't know what. I took them with me last time and they still didn't tell me what they were.
Really?
So let's go. Yeah.
Oh god.
You like my socks? I like my socks.
You're wearing socks?
Yeah, look. Or stockings.
Oh, I guess you are. They're kitty cats. Oh my god. They're
Yeah. Look
cute.
at the back of my shirt.
Wait.
Anime.
Yeah. I knew that
Anime.
much.
Yeah.
Thank
what
you,
was the
buddy,
way
for
out?
the lurk.
Is it in here? Nope.
Yeah, done
That's not
dilly
very
done
cash
did it.
money. Where's the actual exit?
Ah, fuck, I fell.
Is it up here? Oh, I think it's up here. Yeah, it's up here.
It's up here?
It's up here. One of these. That's not it. Is this it? Hey, look, there's another one.
There is another one. Is it this way?
Uh,
I can't get there. Here.
it's not my fault.
Whee!
Wait. Is this the way?
I don't know, I fell down a
Or
hole.
is this the original way?
I don't know, I fell down a hole.
Oh, wait, I think this is the way then. Oh, yeah, look, we're on the other side, see? See the opening
Yeah.
out there?
Yep, I see
Okay.
that. How do we get back?
So now we're stuck in here forever.
No, we're not.
Nope, you're right, it's this way. You see? Look, we can drop these and get up there.
Cool.
Ah,
Wait. Up,
one
jump.
hand.
down. Fuck.
Almost.
Fuck.
Boost me. Don't look up my skirt, but boost me. No, you're grabbing me down.
I did it. Did it.
Oh, look at you
I got
showing
it.
off.
I got it. Look at me go. I hit like a stick. I got a stick.
No. Give me that.
It's my stick. It's my stick.
Put it-
Fuck
Put
off.
it in between the bars and bend the bars.
Wait. Is that how you do it?
Yeah,
Actually,
I
though?
think. Probably. Fuck. We need to get it in between the bars, though.
I probably put the other end in, but right? Because like that's the
Oh,
skinny
yeah.
end.
Probably. I mean, I know shapes. Okay. Okay. I need you to grab the end and start bending. Use all your e-girl strength. Okay, well, it's not working.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think this is how you wait.
Oh, no, look.
What the fuck?
Wait, maybe we should have done to the middle bar.
Yeah, maybe.
Wait, can we fit through it?
Can we? What the?
Hey! Go grab our shit. We're getting out of this.
We can't.
Grab our shit.
But
We're
it's-
getting out of it.
But
Grab
we have to have
our
both.
shit.
We have to have both our hands.
Grab
To,
our
wait,
sh-
we have both our hands to climb.
We
Wait,
can
what's
put the
this?
stick there and grow up
Wait,
like
what's
a bridge.
this? What's this? What is this? What actually is this?
Oh, jump off with it. While holding it.
Yes, let's go.
It's a swing.
Yes.
Wait, don't leave yet.
Yeet.
I have to get over there too.
Well, too bad. I'm coming back. Yeet. Whee. Oh my god. Wait, did I actually make? No, I'm back to the other part of it. Fuck.
Let me off.
That was fun.
Oh no.
Pass it up. Wait, pass what up? Oh, pass the blocks up. Too late. Too late.
I'm gonna take the other route then. You know
Wait,
what? I
Wait.
don't even need the rope.
Wait. Wait. Fuck. I was attached. Fuck.
See ya.
Fuck. Hold on. Don't leave me.
It's too late.
Don't leave me.
I already made it out.
Don't. Oh fuck. I got squished. Don't leave me.
You just jumped on a rope by yourself without me.
Bruh.
Listen, I'm gonna solve the rest of this puzzle myself.
How do I
Do it. Just do it.
Yeet.
That's not what I meant. You're going back to the start.
Yeah, let's go. Don't push off a cliff. I've tried. I think I succeeded once.
No, I did it myself.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Oh
no one's
god.
invited.
Wait. Fuck. Oh god. Okay, wait. What if I go on top of this? Oh shit. Oh fuck. I done really fucked it. Oh no. Help.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, what's up? I do see you. Don't worry. I'll be there in just like 2 seconds, you know?
How long is 2 seconds?
It's not that long. It's just, you know, 1 Mississippi,
I don't know.
2
What's up,
Mississippi.
Mississippi?
It's a Mrs. Who sippies.
The fuck does that mean? Like a sippy cup?
No, but why am I stuck?
And why?
I have a sippy cup.
What?
I don't actually have a sippy cup. I want one though. Have you seen like the fancy ones? They're cute.
The fuck do you mean fancy sippy cups? Do you mean just fucking mugs?
No.
Like thermoses? See ya. Oh, I'm about to break this.
Oh man.
Come on. Break off.
Alright, I think I know what we gotta do though.
What we gotta do? Huh?
Come here. See this tree? Come here.
Yeah? What
Well, we-
about it? What about the tree? No! Hang on! Hang on.
I got your toesy woesy. Oh, that's not your toe. Never mind. Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Did you just say my toe? Wait, what are you grabbing?
I thought it was your toe.
Let go. That is the wrong place to grab.
Poggers.
Let go. Let go. No, don't grab there. Fuck, let go. Get off. Off me.
Josh, look away.
Oh, let go.
I'm not. You're the one holding me.
Oh, sorry. Get off. Okay, I can do this.
Oh my god.
Come on.
Bye. Get you inside this house, shocker. Oh my
on.
god, I put us only back here. Fuck.
Yeah, that's right. Except I'm the one climbing back up.
I
and
don't
you
think
just
you're gonna
decided
climb
to
back
die.
up.
Look at me, I've already made progress.
Have you actually?
Yeah.
I see you struggling over
Oh,
there.
no!
It is so cute.
I can't believe I'm all the way back here. Fuck.
Oh my god, that was fantastic. I just come up over the mountain to see you just fall the fuck off to your death.
God
That
damn
was
it.
great. That was so good.
That wasn't good.
It was so good.
Got it. Okay. I feel
Alright.
violated.
Do you?
Absolutely.
Do you actually?
You just hung on to a place for dear life and it broke it. It's gone.
It wasn't my fault.
Yes, it was.
Wait, hold on. I'm just, I thought I knew, but I don't know if I know.
Come on. Come on.
Nope.
You got this, right?
Wait.
I guess I'll have to teach you how it's done.
Nope. I'm lost.
No. Why are you running with me? Yes.
Wait a second!
Nothing.
This is a teeter-totter?
No, it's not. Come on. There.
Bruh. Oh my god.
No.
Yeah, Josh! Josh clipped it!
Josh clipped it?
Yeah!
Josh, I need that clip for evidence to the police. That's right. It's evidence,
point
Josh.
to
Keep
the
that
doll.
clip saved forever.
I did it. Look at me go.
The cops are gonna want to see that evidence.
Oh, okay. I got the checkpoint. Let's go. Okay.
Okay.
I got a
need to get
door.
back up.
Door open this
Door?
way. Oh. Yo, it's a party. Let's go.
Fuck.
Wait, can I turn the TV on? Oh, it's mine now. Let's go. Or you're stealing the TV.
Are you still on the TV?
Yeah.
That's what I did the whole like
Wait,
2 hours I played this
won't
game. I literally just stole everything.
It won't go in. No.
Why,
I'm
Josh?
so sad. Hey, Josh, can you push that in the clip section of Discord too? At least we can get a speaker, right? Yeah.
I took the couch with me.
Ah!
Why am I not getting up here?
So
Fuck.
we fell. We fall.
Oh,
We big heckin' fall.
oh, we're here. This place is cool. I literally beat this within 12 seconds on accident.
Wait. Do you want to try the? Oh, do you want to try the Fall Guys map now that my game actually works?
Sure, you should have it saved. But also, I want to break this window real quick before
How
you do it.
do I
Hold on, let me break this window first.
Okay. What?
Ah, that was satisfying. Okay, go ahead.
Wait, I want to break a window.
Take that, smash it against the window. You're throwing yourself into the window. No, take it and use it like a battering ram. Have you never broken a window? It's mine now. This stick's mine.
Give it to me.
Break the window.
How do you? Wait.
Come on, you
Wait.
can do it. It's
Wait.
easy.
Yeah.
There you
Let's go.
You want to break some more stuff? I'll show you how to break more stuff. Yeah, pull that lever first.
I want to break this one. Let me break it. Let me break it.
Okay.
Oh, yeet.
You want to see it? Now look. You see that arrow? You see
Yeah.
where that's pointing?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about where the arrow's pointing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put me in the bucket.
Okay. Give me a second.
Let's go.
Is it coming to you?
Yeah, it is.
Let's see. Okay.
I'm ready. Yeet. Wait. Oh, let me in the bucket. Let me in the bucket. Yeah. Let's go. I'm in the bucket. Oh God.
Okay. Get ready. Ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Come on.
What are you doing?
Come on. Come on.
What are you doing?
Come on.
What?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. All
I was
right,
in the
now
bucket
get
for
outta
that.
here.
I was in the bucket
were
for
in the-
that.
Oh no, I can't. No, I gotta get under it. Now look at that one. Does that look fun to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Let's
guess what?
go.
Hop on in. Okay. And she's dead.
I'm dead. I died. Yikes.
Okay. Jump
Help.
and hang on the ball. Don't worry about that. Just hang on the ball. Don't worry about what I'm saying. Just hang on the ball.
I'm
Just grab
trying.
the balls and hang on them.
All
There
right.
you go.
I got it. I got it.
Now get off the balls.
I know.
Come on.
Why?
Oh. Just get off of them. Get off of it.
Okay. Damn. Wait, no, stay on.
Now get on the crane.
Yeah. You get.
Yeah, I want to get on. Okay.
Or just sounds
Okay.
like a dad who works
know
at
what to do.
construction site and bringing your kid to work day.
Get off the ball. Come on, George. Get off the. No, you need to swing it faster the other way first.
No.
See, you only made a little dent in it. You need to
Wait.
swing it really
Wait.
fast.
I'm stuck. Help. Ah, fuck.
There you go. There
So
you go.
I might have a broken arm now.
Don't worry about it. It's okay.
I
Ow.
am.
Don't worry about it. It's okay. Swing it really fast.
How do you
Really
change the speed?
Just go back the other way. This is faster.
Is it?
You'll see.
All right. I'm
Yeah.
a little bit stuck. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
I'm
me
not
a
going
second.
anywhere.
Are you sure?
Dancing with my balls. My balls. They're swinging really hard.
All right. That's
I'm ready.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Here we
Yeah.
go. I mean, this is pretty fast to me.
Bam.
Wow. Yeah, it broke the wall. Yeah.
You lied. How
Here, I'll get off.
fucking
Swing it
dare
better.
you?
It's because I'm too heavy. Swing it.
How fucking dare you?
I can't. I'm sorry. I'm so heavy. Damn. I'm gonna
Damn.
just start chipping the wall myself.
Wait. Did you actually do that?
I don't know. Keep trying
Hey,
now.
keep standing right there. Yeah, stand right. Yeah.
You almost broke my head in. Come on. It's not like a fucking watermelon.
Bam.
God damn it. Ah, well, I'm going with
That's
it
the
now.
wrong thing. Bam.
No,
Oh
I took it with me. I took half the wall with me.
my god. Did you?
Yeah, look. The
Did
left
you?
side. Yeah. I like this big ball.
Come on.
What are you doing?
Come on.
It's too late.
Come
The
on.
ball's gonna protect me.
Let go.
No, balls protect
Let
me.
go!
No,
Let go!
I ain't let
Let
go.
go!
No, you let go.
You first!
No, I can't even jump. Please, listen. You don't have to do this.
I do. I
I
do.
just-
I
I
actually
just
gotta
wanna
do
go home.
this. I do
wanna
gotta
go
do
home.
this.
I just want to see my
Oh,
children.
fine. Feck.
Thank you.
You're not welcome. Anyways,
Thank
okay, how do I go back? How do I, wait.
exit.
Okay. Exit?
Okay. Exit to main menu.
Exit to lobby?
fuck.
Select a level? What's it wait,
Yeah.
how do I find it?
So when you're selecting a level, there should be an area called workshop levels or something like that.
Open Steam
Work-
Workshop?
No, not that one. That just opens the workshop menu.
Oh, okay.
There should be try other dreams or something like that.
Extra dreams?
No, that's just the extra.
Pick a
there should-
dream?
What's the other option?
Subscribe levels?
Subscribe levels.
I am not subscribed.
They should have downloaded. Okay, I guess you're going to the workshop and downloading the level real quick.
Alright, so is it just
So-
called Among Us?
That's just the lobby. Do you want to go back to Among Us?
I want them. Wait, no, not the Among Us. Sorry, I didn't mean Among Us. I meant the Fall Guys. Is it Fall Guys?
Yeah. So it's just when you're on the workshop, it's also on levels. So almost everything's in either Korean or Japanese.
Hell
So
yeah.
you're not gonna find it if you just type in Among Us. I'm almost
I
sure.
did. I actually found
you
Fall
found it?
Guys. Yeah.
Oh, okay, there you go.
All
and
right.
then once it's installed, you just hit yeah. Yeah.
Let's go. Alex Among Us?
Among-
Alex gonna play Goose Goose Duck with us sometime? Yo! Where's Gamer at? Gamer! Gamer, look at this shit! Gamer, look at this shit! Gamer! Holy shit's loud though. Damn! Oh fuck! I
I
hit
haven't
the
even
wrong
loaded
way.
in yet.
I'm sorry if I just like fucking jump scared anybody. I actually hit the wrong way.
I haven't even loaded in.
Oh my god. Also, what the fuck are these physics? Wow. Holy shit, some proceeds to turn up even louder. You know what? I didn't mean to. I'm a climber. Look at me go. That's an achievement I got.
You did
Alright.
it.
I did it! You're
You
right.
did it.
I did do it.
It's true. You did do it.
I did did it! I did did your thing! Where are you at?
Not loaded.
What?
Yeah. It's still loading.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
wait, can I grab this? Can I grab this? Ah! wait, I wanna grab it. Come here. Oh, I'm getting laggy. Oh, I'm getting laggy. Woo, I grabbed it. Let's go. Oh my god, look at the ragdolling. This is amazing. E-girl
Here,
goes
I'm
for
gonna
a
try restarting
ride.
the game.
Miley Cyrus style.
Why did you just say Miley Cyrus style?
yeah, E-girl goes for a ride, Miley Cyrus style. Came in like a wrecking ball.
I don't like that. No. No, I'm not wrecking ball again.
Why is this a thing? Wait, what do you mean why is this a thing? Bruh. Oh fuck, I let go! Lassie, if you have this game, you should get on this. Like, this is so much fun. Yeah, it even has the music. Like, I'm pretty sure this is definitely copyright, but you know. E-girl dies from the amount of G she's
Okay, I'm restarting the
experiencing. Whee! Yo, I grabbed onto the fucking anal beads, dude. Let's go! Oh no! Can you see my stream right now, Potion?
I can't, sadly.
Oh my god. This is amazing. This is just great. This is just a fan. I just take a nap apparently. I just take a nap. Don't mind me. Don't mind the what. Oh my god. Oh shit. Let
Okay,
me
I'm
up.
going back into the
Oh no. Oh no. I want Gamer to play this so bad now. He needs to. He really needs to.
I installed that map because I was waiting to see Gamer into chat to launch it. I was
Yeah.
super happy I managed to actually get him while he was in chat.
Look at my legs. They're just going everywhere. And I'm river dancing. Clog dancing. There we go.
Okay. Let's see if the game works now. Can you invite me?
Oh, did I not do that? My bad. My bad. I don't see you online.
You can invite me when you hit it. Oh wait, I guess you still need to be able to see me. There you
Yeah. I still don't see
I am
you.
go. I'm just online. I'm not on the game, it will say. Are you
Oh,
sure it doesn't say
okay.
on games? Yeah, I have it hidden on accident. There was like some setting I turned on, and
Well,
I
it
don't know
won't-
how to turn it off.
It won't let me invite you to the game if you're not in the game.
What?
It says invite to watch or remote play together.
How did you invite me before?
You were in the game. And I invite you from the game.
I am in the game.
Hold on.
See?
Hold on.
I'll figure out how to turn it off.
There we go. I think I got it. I think
Yep,
I
you
got it. I did it! Oh, I almost went the wrong way.
Congrats.
Alright, we're gonna go through. Oh, fuck. Game just like borked itself. Oh, call it. Probably because you were loading in. Hey, what's up? It's time
Yeah.
for DoorDash.
What?
DoorDash, the other way.
Oh no. I'm not even loaded in.
Oh
Yeah, it's still loading.
no. Wait. Oh my god. Wait, why can't I go through the door? Wait, what? Hello? Wait, does that mean it's not the right door then? Potentially? I am very much so confused. Oh god. What is this? Do you see this?
I don't.
Ah, I found it. I found it.
it's
Okay.
trying to install 62 megabytes for some reason. Are you sure you downloaded the same Windows as me?
The one that you did earlier? No.
Oh. That would be
Yeah.
what?
Yeah? Yeah. Do you want me to go look
I
for
was
that
trying
one?
to figure. Nah, no, that's fine. I'm just gonna turn. I have a limiter on my download when I'm playing online, so I don't like eat up all my bandwidth. I had to turn it off because it wasn't installing the 62 megabytes of that map. I was like, why the fuck am I not loading in?
Gotcha,
That'd be
gotcha. Let me through! Let me through! Yeah, there we go. I really think that Gamer would have a lot of fun with this, though.
That's a challenge night. He has to win 5 of those.
Yes!
And if he doesn't, he has to donate 20 gift subs
To who?
in his chat.
Ah, smart. He could get the money back. Well, half of it. Roughly half.
And people get free subs.
You may or may not have spent $50 on Sims today. Let's see. Let's go. What'd you buy? What packs did you get? Wait, this is Splatoon music. Excuse me. Am I
Also,
wrong?
I really should be getting dinner because dinner's in there.
Whee!
I haven't got it. So I'm actually going to be right back while this is downloading.
Okay.
Okay? You go ahead and explore. I'm going to go get my food and then my game should be done.
Sounds good. Am I wrong in saying this is Splatoon music, guys? It sounds like it. Okay, okay. Oh. Oh no, Alex! Alex, no! Wait, it didn't go through. Oh, that's a heckin' scam! Oh no! Maybe you spammed it too much. Maybe it didn't like how much you spammed it. What the fuck? How do I do this? Try doing it with less of them. But thank you for the biddies. I appreciate you. Try doing it with less of them though. See if that works. Oh fuck. Oh god. Oh no, no! Wait! No! God damn it! Oh, you've heard. Okay. Maybe this is the song that I always think sounds like Splatoon then. So there's definitely a song in Fall Guys that reminds me of Splatoon a lot. This is probably it. Wow! TTS lady! What the fuck, man? I'm sorry, Alex. Thank you for the 15 biddies again, though. I don't know why. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see something real quick. Yeah, it's just not gonna play it for you. I'm sorry. I don't know why. Also, Shifter, if you're still here, you have some explaining to do. Why you fucking do that, dude? Bruh. This is- wait, that's it? This is for TTS lady? Wait, what's for TTS lady?
Get out of here, you fucking cunt. Oh, you, get
Yes.
out of here, you fucking mongrel.
Fuck you, TTS lady. Meow. Meow. Look at her go. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. TTS lists us. TTS very lists us. Also, these ones go down a lot faster than the ones in Fall Guys. Holy shit. Oh man. Can I? Wait, I can't put bits in my own stream, can I? That'd be dumb, right? Maybe I will put in a TTS, like, channel plate reward. Would you guys like that?
Thank you for the bid.
69. Nice.
Maybe it just isn't like overscript. Is it overscript? Superscript. Superscript. Fuck my brain. Maybe this isn't like that, but I'm pretty sure that it's played it before, right? TTS point rewards are nice. Yeah, I'll look into it. It probably won't be anytime soon. But, I don't know. I'm pretty sure somebody came in here doing the superscript TTS before. I don't know. I'm sorry I scammed you twice, Alex. Heckin' sus. Let's see how you're spinning all the big bucks. What the heck? Wait, did you already tell me what you got? Oh, you got Strangerville, Island Living, and Realm of Magic. Ooh, the Realm of Magic.
Justice for the lost biddies.
Justice for the lost biddies. Thank you for more biddies, Jesus. You don't have to do that. But I appreciate you. I love the magic packs in Sims games. Like, they're so good. Also, I think Potion is just never gonna load in. I don't know. Alright, 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 no. Oh no. Oh no. Huh! Fuck. Fuck. Let me over it. Fuck. 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 Let me over it. God damn it. Yeah. Alright, let's go, let's go, let's go. Waddling, waddling. Waddle, waddle, waddle. Till the very next day. Waddle, waddle, waddle. Do these go away? Oh, they do! Oh shit! Oh no! Oh my god!
I'm gonna say this wrong.
Hold on, I gotta mute this. Oh my god, there's so many sounds! Oh my god! Blip, 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 blip. Blip, blip. Let me over it. Let me over it. Let me over it. Let me over it. Let me over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Oh god!
Thank you.
Fuck! Fuck!
All right. So where the fuck are you?
I am all the way at the end, struggling very, very hard with this.
Oh, I don't remember which way to go. Do I go into all the balls? Or do I go into the gates? I don't remember how
DoorDash,
Fall Guys work.
DoorDash.
DoorDash?
Yeah. Okay. Huh! Huh! Hit! Hit! Oh no! Fuck! Grab it! Grab it! Yeah! 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 Alright, we got this. We got this.
You have to wait till I'm there.
Alright, I'll wait.
Don't win. Thank you. You can't win. Okay?
I'm gonna win.
No. You had to wait for me because
What
I started
is
late.
this?
That's the rules.
I don't know if I can wait for you. It's pushing me forward. It's literally pushing me forward. I don't know what to do.
Don't you go in.
I'm gonna go. Here I go.
I want it.
Meow. Wait, there's piggies. Wait, what are these? I want a pig.
What? Pigs?
Pig. Give me this.
What do you mean pigs?
Pig. There's pigs. Huh.
What?
I
Why
want
is
the
there pigs?
pig.
What do you
I
mean
want the
pigs?
pig.
I
Oh,
want the pig.
I got one. Let's go. I stole me a pig. I stole me a
Oh,
pig.
fuck. I have a long way to go. Oh, no. What the fuck is this?
Yes, Josh. If Stove is still alive when we are done, we can raid Stove. I would love that, actually. I got a pig. Season 4 is strictly on Hulu. Oh no! Oh no! I'm sorry, Leslie.
Wait, how do we get past this? It's just a bunch of fucking goo.
What is happening to my character? I kind of want to go back and find you.
I'm being lifted above the goo.
Above the goo?
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
Oh, nope, I can't go find you. Fuck, man.
Wait, what is this?
Oh, hey,
There's
what's
a
up?
bunch of pigs.
Yeah, this is the pigs. These are the pigs I was talking about. I took the clear one.
You can take him?
Yeah, this is mine. Right here.
I want this pig.
I'm showing him a pig.
How do you take the pigs?
I don't know. I just yeeted it off.
I'm trying. I want this fucking pig.
I also don't know if you're like supposed to break it. How do you break it?
I don't think. Are you supposed to break?
I don't know. They look like piggy banks, don't they?
Oh wait, I got the pig. Hey.
Nice. Let's
Oh,
go.
that's Chinese. It's trying to explain something to us.
Oh, that's yeah.
Huh.
Yep. I don't read Chinese. I'm assuming that's Chinese. Looks like Chinese.
Yeah, it does.
Yep. I don't know. Hey, look, it's you.
Hey, where?
Up here.
That's not me. What? You're saying all anime looks the same, huh? Is that what you're saying?
No. My pig.
Yeah.
My
What?
my pig.
No! No! I threw it down for 1 second, but I want it. No.
Pig! Pig!
Give me my fucking pig. Give me my fucking pig. I'm choking you.
No, it's
Give me my pig. Give me my pig.
Don't choke it. What the heck?
Give me my fucking pig.
This is abuse. I claim abuse.
No, give me my.
My
It doesn't
pig.
matter. I mean, the cops will understand. It's a good reason. You took my
Is
fucking
it?
pig.
Is
yeah.
that a good reason?
Yeah, you took my pig.
I see.
Give me my fucking pig
I
back.
don't want to give you your pig back.
Give me my fucking. We're not going over the edge. You're giving me my pig back. I know what you're trying to do. Give me my pig back. Come on. Hand it over. No, get my pig back. No, hand my fucking pig. We ain't going over the edge. You're handing my goddamn pig back. I want fucking Winkington, okay? Give him.
You want
Damn
what? Hold on.
Nothing.
What's his
I want
name?
my pig.
Wait, what's his
Nothing.
name?
Nothing. Give me my pig.
Winkington?
He doesn't have no.
Winkington.
He doesn't have a name. Give me my
How
pig.
cute.
No, give me my pig.
How cute.
Give me my fucking pig.
Nah.
Come on, you already have one. You don't need to. You already have one. Let go. Let go.
Alright, I'll let go. There you go.
Thank you. Hey, no, that's yours. I don't want yours. Yours stinks. I want mine.
Yours stinks.
No, mine's
Stinky.
cool. No, it's not stinky.
You stinky.
Mine is
But
cool. He is a cool man, and he works in carpentry.
Oh,
Yes.
she's going backwards.
No! Give me!
No, I want to
Give
go
me
over
my
the edge.
pig!
I actually want to see what happens if I go over the edge with them, though. Let go, real quick, let go.
Don't take mine.
Yes, let go real quick,
No,
real
take
quick. Just let go.
yours.
Let go. I want to see what happens with both of them. Yes. Thank you. I just really wanted an excuse to steal it and just you know.
What? Come here.
Come
here. No, let go.
Whee!
No.
Oh man, where'd they go? Hey, they're back.
No.
They're back. Look at
No.
them. Look at them.
What? Oh wait, they're back.
Yeah.
Oh.
You want the purple pig? The purple, this purple pig? If he was like translucent, that'd be really cool.
Give me my pig. Give me my pig.
I work in corporate.
Give me my pig.
That's the most Bort line ever. I work in corporate.
Give me my pig. Got my pig. Got my pig.
My pig.
Got my pig.
My pig.
I got my pig.
My pig.
Nah, my pig.
Oh my god.
I got my pig. I got my pig.
Uh,
What you gonna do with all that pig?
I'm gonna
All
call
that
you
pig
sus.
inside here. What? Not. I got
Alright.
a pig.
are there any other maps you want to show me?
No, I downloaded a couple, but like none of them are that important. They're just like cool maps I saw.
Gotcha.
Let go of me.
Well, I'm fairly done with with this game for the night. This is really fun.
I told you it was fun. Do you even want to believe me? And you sent it to me.
Did I?
Yes, this is you gifted me this.
Oh.
And then we never played it. And I was like, oh, hey, this game's really fun. I tried it by myself for a little bit. And you're like, and then never played it.
Oh god, I think that's correct.
Yeah, no, it is correct. You don't think it's correct.
Yeah. No. Okay. Well,
What the hell is up there? Look at that up there.
Oh.
What are
They keys. They keys.
But why are they like dogs?
I don't fucking know.
That's just anime.
So
That's also-
$180
that's
for
also-
Veronica
that-
Mars, bruh. Lassie is down bad for Veronica Mars, apparently.
My pig. No, my pig.
Yeah. Alright.
You can't get this pig.
Alright. I think we're good on this game. Do you have fun?
I had fun.
Alright, so
I got to get a pig, and that's the best part.
you got to get a pig.
I got to get a pig.
Well, let me see. I think Josh wants to raid Stove. Josh, are you still here? You better still be here, Josh. Let me see if Stove is online still. I don't see Stove online, Josh. Unless he has like 100 viewers, which nope, he doesn't. He's not online. Stove!
He just logged
Stove,
off.
where'd he go? Oh, no, he is. No, he is online. Never mind. Oh, he's playing Pico Park. Wah. Yo, he just started stream too. Oh, I'm a mod in his stream apparently.
Didn't even know.
I didn't actually.
It's pretty impressive.
Wait, I might have known. Jebediah modded me for literally memes.
Thank you for the
PP Park.
PP
My
Park.
favorite places
PP
to go
Park.
is the PP Park.
PP Park. Alright, I almost typed in /park. Let's go.
Slash PP Park.
Josh, you better be here. Yeah, I'll be in Discord for a hot second, Josh. Alright, guys, if you have my emote, copy and paste. Oh, you already did it. Copy and paste that. If you don't have my emote, change out my emote for something that you have. Guys, thank you so much for being here, for watching and chatting and everything. You guys are cool. You guys are awesome. Y'all made my night. Tonight was a lot of fun. Wait, Jen is surprised when you go to a stream and you aren't modded? I know, right? I actually kind of am too. But, but yeah, let's go show Stove some love, guys. Stove is amazing and you all need to know who he is. So if you don't know who he is, now you're gonna know. Hey, there you go, Josh. Yeah, if you guys don't have my sub, copy and paste that one. That'd be great. Thank you, Josh. Alright, guys. I'll catch you all Sunday for... God damn it. Okay, Alex, yeah. Copy whichever one you want to use. I'll see y'all Sunday for community night. We'll do Josh's game that he wanted to play, the monster one, and then we will play some Kukuro, right? Kukuro? That's what I always get it wrong. I want to say it's right. But yeah, I'll see you guys Sunday for community night. Goodbye, everybody. Everybody say goodbye to Potion 2.
No.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye,
No.
everybody. Go
Bye,
show
Potion.
Stove. Oh my god. Go show Stove lots of love. Bye.
Bye, Poach.